Alright, hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be tearing down my motorized bike. The reason I'm tearing it down is this thing's starting to have a lot of clutch issues with this arm. The engine's not running right. It's just overall really cheaply made and everything breaks really easily. And I don't want to dump any more money into this, so I think it's going to be a pretty cool video cracking this thing open and seeing what the inside of the engine is like. So I got my time-lapse camera set up and you guys are going to get to see me tear this thing down. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is take off the carburetor. And there's obviously a fuel line going to it, so I'm gonna have to drain the fuel out of this tank. And I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see in here, there is not that much. Well, there's quite a bit actually, but there's not too much. It's not like a full tank. So I'm gonna grab a bowl and we're gonna drain that fuel. Alright, so first I'm gonna do here is put the fuel on the off position. Alright, so now I'm gonna try to take off the fuel line. Got this bottle here I'm gonna use to drain the fuel into. Turned off the fuel, so now this fuel line should just pop off this carburetor. There it is. Okay, it actually popped off the whole entire tank. I pulled that a little too hard, spilt everywhere, but I got a tarp down, so that's okay. Alright, so I don't know how well you guys saw me taking this fuel line off and just splattered everywhere, but now I'm gonna put this container under the remaining fuel line and start draining the rest of the tank. Alright, so I don't know how much you guys saw in the time lapse, but this is what we got out of it. It's a decent amount. So, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, I'm going to attempt to open this engine all the way and take out the piston and rod just as like a little souvenir. So, next thing I'm probably going to take off is the carburetor here. I got to detach this top throttle cable assembly and then detach it from the intake. So yeah, I'm going to do that next. Alright, so I got the carburetor off along with all the hardware, and I always was curious to see if this piston was scratched up because this motor had a pretty bad life. Like, I did the proper mix, but I drove this thing pretty hard, so I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see in there. It's probably too dark. But I see a little bit of scraping on the piston, so once we actually take this head off, it'll be cool to see if there's any damage to the cylinder wall and piston and just to keep it overall. So next thing I'm probably going to take off is the exhaust or either the CDI box. Alright, so I tried to get the exhaust off, but this frame is in the way of these bolts, and I don't really know how to get them off, so I'll probably just take it off once the engine is completely out. So the next thing I'm probably going to do, take out the spark plug right up here, detach the chain from the sprocket, and I guess try to take the whole motor out. So now I got the clutch off and the clutch arm. So now this chain has to come off the sprocket, and I'm gonna have to find the master link, which is actually right here if you guys can see that. So I'm probably have to take a flathead screwdriver or a chain breaker to that and try to get that off. Alright, so as you can see in the time lapse, got the chain off the engine sprocket and the back sprocket, so now it's time to go at the engine mounts. Alright guys, after struggling for quite a while, finally got the exhaust off. I had to use adjustable wrench because I couldn't get a socket in there. So now I can actually have access to the motor mounts, so now it's time to unscrew the motor. Alright, so I had to stop the time lapse because I was having trouble getting a nut off because that part right there was in the way, if you guys can see that. So I ended up stopping it, but I got the engine off. So it's pretty weird not to have the engine in the bike frame. So I'm not used to being open like that. So now I'm going to put this in the bag, the engine and all its mounts, just like I've been doing with all the other parts. And then I'm going to get onto the gas tank and getting rid of the throttle and all its wiring. Hey guys, well, here's the update. I'm not gonna be able to finish today. I'm kind of tired. I'm working on it for a long time, but got the whole entire engine off, all the wiring that connects to the engine, but now there's still wires that are going up to the throttle and the clutch lever, so all the stuff on the handlebars needs to be taken off tomorrow, and then the sprocket is also gonna have to come off. You guys can see the sprocket right there. So the sprocket and the stuff on the handlebars, and then the engine kit is off. Alright, so it's later on in the day. Now this is left, the sprocket, so I'm going to take off the back tire and undo these sprocket bolts, and hopefully this should come off pretty easily. The only challenging part is there's nuts back here, so I'm going to have to hold that with a wrench at the same time while I'm trying to undo the bolts in the front, but we'll see how it goes. You guys will see it on the time-lapse camera. Alright guys, as you can see, I got this wheel off, so now it's time to undo these sprocket bolts. So I'm going to get the time-lapse camera pointed down here, and let's see how long it takes. We just got the sprocket off the back wheel. It's completely gone. And one day I was actually riding my bike and I heard like a loud clacking sound. And I don't know if you guys can see that. That spoke is no longer attached. So I don't think spokes can be reattached. So I don't know if I have to buy a whole new rim or what's going on here, but that's not really good news. But next we're gonna go and work on the chain tensioner and try to get it off. Alright guys, here it is. I finished taking all the cables off for the throttle and the clutch. So now it's just down to the bare bike. So now I'm going to put it on the back wheel and this bike will be back to normal again. It's kind of sad to see that engine kit go. I really like that thing, but it had too many problems. It's straight from China, so that's probably why I had all the problems. Stuff was just very cheaply made. But I'm gonna put this back tire on, and then hopefully this bike will ride. I don't know if that broken spoke is gonna be an issue. It probably will be. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. This is the end result. I need to find some grips, which I could either buy or get off a parts bike I have. So I could do that, and everything else turned out pretty good. I was having an issue with the quick release here. It wasn't holding the tire on all the way. It would slide forward over into here, but I think I just installed the tire wrong or something, because now it's fine. I've been riding around for a couple minutes. So yeah, other than that guys, thank you so much for watching the video. See you guys later.